Harry's wife. You're talking rubbish. We know that Harry's wife spouts a load of bollocks, and of course she has trained Ginger Bollocks to spout more bollocks. He is, of course, the sock puppet for her. It shows in the language that he uses, the gestures that he evidences, and of course many of you picked up on the fact that Harry, with his silence becomes betrayal, was a quote from Martin Luther King, which of course could only have been popped into his brain by his handler, Harry's wife. It would appear that patience is being lost with the gruesome twosome by the Daily Mirror, which ordinarily is supportive. Perhaps the bills are not being paid there with regard to the PR puff pieces. As an article by Russell Myers tells us, Harry's unwillingness to reconcile claims rubbished after King invited him to stay. Oh dear, another fuck-up by the Sussexes. Who'd have thunk it? Prince Harry's claims that his dad and brother showed no willingness to reconcile with him had been rebutted by royal sources after the King invited the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to stay with him. Oh dear, Sussexes have fouled up again. Imagine that, cranking Harry up to come out with some more propaganda. Harry and Harry's wife were always welcome to spend Christmas with the royal family, despite taking part in a 6-part Netflix series where Harry called Charles a liar and William a bully, insiders have said. On 2 occasions last year, in a bid to improve relations, the then Prince of Wales asked Harry and his family to come and visit at his Highgrove home in Gloucestershire, and just weeks before the late Queen's passing, reiterated his invitation for the Sussexes and their 2 children to visit him in Scotland when on holiday. Assertion of control in a benign way from Prince Charles, hoovering and doing so in a generous fashion, but also demonstrating that the Sussexes' claim that there's no willingness to reconcile is utter horse shit. Royal sources revealed to the Mirror last year how Charles and Harry had held several good-natured and enjoyable video calls in the previous months. That doesn't sit with the idea of not reconciling, does it, Harry? Despite the Duke taking part in a tell-all interview with US chat show legend Oprah Winfrey. But this week, ahead of the release of his eagerly awaited memoir, Spare, Harry, 38, delivered another stinging attack on the royals, claiming they had shown no willingness to reconcile. One well-placed royal source called the claim complete and unadulterated nonsense. They added, "It takes some audacity to say that when his father invited him to stay at his house when in the United Kingdom, invited him to spend Christmas with the rest of the family, and continued to make public statements of support. It's outrageous." In promotional clips ahead of a publicity blitz, party political broadcast, for the eagerly awaited book Spare, released next Tuesday. Is it? Oh, I hadn't been told. Harry repeated accusations against Buckingham Palace aides, who he accused of placing negative stories in the media about him and his wife, Harry's wife. While the book is expected to give details about disagreements between Harry, 38, and his brother William, 40, King Charles, who Harry labelled a liar in his recent bombshell 6-part Netflix series with wife Harry's wife, is expected to be spared further attacks. See parts past him as to why that is. Harry has already claimed William broke a promise to him never to leak stories or brief against one another after witnessing the fallout of such actions in their father's office. Surprisingly, Harry is expected to criticise the Princess of Wales, who he once enjoyed an incredibly close relationship with and who he occasionally knocks one out over, and who was the catalyst in attempts to get the warring brothers to make peace. A source told the Mirror, Charles has been saddened that he hasn't had the opportunity to spend time with his grandchildren, which he really does miss. He cherishes being a grandfather and certainly feels there is something missing from his life without the ability to get to know Harry's children. He has always left the door open for his son and will continue to do so. This, of course, this ostracization that has taken place is indicative of the behaviour of the narcissist and the way that she has manipulated Harry into behaving like an utter twat by not having continued involvement with the family that he was once very close to. Sources also pointed out how the king used his first speech as monarch to explicitly mention Harry and Harry's wife, saying, "I want also to express my love for Harry and Harry's wife as they continue to build their lives overseas," referencing the Sussexes' current home in California. Harry has also sat down for a 90-minute chat with ITV News at 10 presenter Tom Bradby, and will also appear on the US show 60 Minutes with renowned American journalist Anderson Cooper. The two interviews will air on Sunday ahead of the book release. Further promotional clips of the interviews are expected this week after Harry blamed Charles and William for his royal exit, but went on to reveal, "I'd like to get my father back. I would like to have my brother back." So, once again, words that come from the Sussexes turn out to be a load of bollocks. And, of course, it's demonstrative of the way that Harry's wife focuses on the now, and Harry's dim-wittedness means that it's so easy to demonstrate that they're telling porky pies. Let's dive below the line. Are there legions of support to say to them, "Look, we love you, Harry and Harry's wife"? Fidgety Fingers, a user on here, states that Harry, the People's Prince, is giving $1.8 million from the sale of his book. I'm not a religious person, but here's a quote for you, Hals, which I noticed in another news outlet. Matthew 6, verse 1 to 4. "So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honoured by others." And then this person writes, "Do as George Michael gave to charity. No one knew about the vast amount of money he gave to charity until his death." Well, that's because George Michael was an empath. Martinis writes, "Ginge and Whinge caught telling porcupines again. Joe Granny, please Harry, just shut up and live quietly with your little family in the United States. You wanted to leave the royal family, make your own way. Well, please, just get on with it and stop whinging." Reginald Frew, "Please go back to your native land, Harry, and take your wife with you. We're as tired of your and her whining as are your long-suffering former family and their subjects." Bob James 9, "God, I'm so bored with this whining ginger parasite." Binta Shaw, "His ailing grandmother invites him and his wife to stay with her at Balmoral. They refuse. Why didn't they go and raise the issues with her, since they had a very close relationship, and discuss things not shared with others, as he claimed in that interview? Because he's not telling the truth and would have no gumption facing her with his claims. And if true, he was saving for his book to make money by selling his family. He's a coward on all accounts." Carla, while in the United Kingdom, after Germany they were invited to stay with the Queen, they declined as they had done so since 2019. Blame Harry and Harry's wife. It's their nasty choice. Fantastic Marmite, "For the love of God, I wish he would just shut his trap, go and speak to his dad and let the rest of the world move on and deal with our actual serious problems." JW60, "Snivelling little Judas." Fair to say, nobody's coming out on your side, Harry and Harry's wife. Quelle surprise. Once again, the behaviour of the narcissist and the way that she handles her captive demonstrates that they simply cannot see the impact of their behaviours, and the downward spiral gathers pace. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.